Shut up.
All right,
All right, shall we begin?
I think you should begin.
Great. Well, good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 18th, 7:31. This is the regular Lawrence Cultural Arts Commission meeting. And I'll kick things off the way I always do with a roll call, starting with, I guess we know Marlo's not here, so starting with Tim.
Present.
And Alicia.
Present.
And Monique.
Present.
And Kelly does not appear to be here, and Matthew also doesn't appear to be here, but we do have a quorum, which is great. He has some things to do, starting with approving the minutes. So I don't know if anybody has had a chance to look over the May 14th meeting minutes. And then maybe you have questions or complaints or a motion to approve that.
I'll move that we approve.
Great, thank you, Tim. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Alicia. And we will do the roll call vote, starting with Tim,
Approve.
and then Alicia,
Approve.
and then Monique.
I approve.
Actually, also unanimously approving the meeting minutes for May 14th, 2025. Takes us to our agenda items, of which there are two. The first of which is reviewing and considering approving the proposed mural on the new Shabbat Student Center at 19th Street. And we do have a couple of guests here, both in person and online. Hopefully you all have a chance to look over the pictures and the words and consider all of that. But if our guests would like to just maybe touch on a couple of details about the project, maybe the timeframe, the artist, and those sorts of things, feel free. And you can sit up here at the table.
I mean, we
With the adults, come to the table.
do not have a
Oh,
short.
here comes Matthew.
Oh, we've got Matthew. All right, great. Quorum plus one. Super quorum.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
You missed approving the minutes, but other than that, we're.
I can live with that, I think.
We're diving into the first agenda item, talking about the new mural project on the Shabbat Student Center. We'll go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the
Yeah,
project.
Laurel Schwab with Sabatini Architects, and I'm here representing the owner. And Rabbi Zalman is online, so if there's any questions that come up for him, he is, there he is, he's in motion. So we submitted the package. I hope that it has everything included that you guys need. I'm here to answer any questions you have. When I was here before, we didn't, we knew we were gonna have a mural in this location, but we hadn't proceeded far enough along with the artist at that point, and now we have that information. The goal is to have the artist come July next month, assuming everything is approved by you guys. And get started on it. We'd like to get it installed for the fall semester this year when students come back.
I've been Grammying all day, so if I fall asleep, just nudge me.
Thanks for being here. Does anybody have any questions about the mural project for the new and improved Shabbat Student Center?
It's awesome. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Definitely think the fact that it is a relatively renowned, but it is a graffiti artist that you're having do the mural makes a lot of sense to me, since, I mean, the building is beautiful, and having something which has a little bit more, it's a little, bright and playful, can help
Yeah.
bring in the student part of the student center.
Agree.
I feel like it'll appeal well to the student population.
I was like, everybody knows what's going on.
So great, yeah.
And we were talking before you all came, and hang on, I gotta escape out of this.
So how, he's coming in July and is he here for like a month, 2 months?
We're thinking about a week and a
Okay, I
half
was like,
process. I think he's just gonna be all day long
Yeah.
for multiple days in a row, because he'll be away from his family. So,
Mm.
I was just gonna, sorry, I'm having trouble getting out of this.
So I don't hurt.
Okay, and I was just going to quickly go, I thought I had the artist.
You did, there
There he is, okay, wow. Now I have to share. And there we go. Just great to see what this artist has done. Relatively young, started at 14 and literally has been painting murals basically around the world.
Yeah.
This one's really wonderful. So yeah, great to have him.
It's kind of interesting, like looking through his portfolio, he clearly does a lot of portrait work, and it's interesting that I'm not sure there are other pieces that don't have human faces or likenesses, but it is interesting that there are no faces in this mural.
You're right. Yeah, I think that Rabbi had a lot of input in what he was hoping to see for the students and for the community. And I think that the artist really reflected some of those ideas. So I don't know, Rabbi, if you have any comments that you want to add about your conversations with Zalman.
Yeah, happy to chime in. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to thank all of you for what you're doing. I know you don't get paid too much per hour for doing this, so thank you for your volunteering for our community. To answer your question about the reason why we aren't putting faces is because the whole objective of this mural is to try to be as open, as embracing as possible. And we have such a diverse spectrum of students who are involved that if we put one face, then it's excluding another face. And our idea was let's make this mural something which everybody could connect with and find themselves in it. So that's why we're not doing faces. I also want to mention that we're so excited about this mural because Lawrence has so many beautiful, magnificent works of art and murals, but this will be the first one with a Jewish motif, which is very exciting because Lawrence is such a multicultural town and something was missing. And this is going to bring in that little missing piece, which will be here for many, many years to come and allow people to feel like, wow, Lawrence is so diverse. We even have a beautiful mural with combining Kansas and Jewish themes. So to us, it's a real niche that can bring a special flavor and joy to our community.
Well said. Yeah, and thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to consider.
Yeah, of course. That's great. Does anybody have any additional questions or comments?
I think maybe we should enlighten Lawrence Times about this. I think it would be a really cool thing to share with the greater Lawrence and just celebrate the more diverse art that we're having come, especially if this is the first piece of its kind. That's worth some celebration
Yeah,
all over.
I don't know if y'all have a plan to capture the process of when the artist is here over that week working, but it seems like a good opportunity to try and do some documentation, photo, video. Since he does work pretty fast and
deploy a couple of GoPros on that. Snaps, right?
I'll comment on that. We actually do have someone from the KU Film School that's already hired for this purpose. And they're going to document the whole thing and put together a little documentary about and get some student feedback and local impressions. So that's on the mark. And we're definitely going to have some media too. We just wanted to wait first until everything's approved and nailed out. And then we're
course.
gonna go with the media.
Good. I'm excited for you guys. This is awesome.
Well, to
Yep.
the end, obviously, we heard about earlier, we did hear about just the center in general prior to the mural proposal being put together. So I think we're all pretty well aware of the scope of the project. So if anybody would like to make a motion to recommend to the city commission that we.
I will definitely make a motion to recommend.
All right,
I love
great.
it.
Thank you.
Second,
And Tim has seconded, prompting the roll call vote, starting with Tim
approve.
and Alicia
Approve.
and then Monique
I approve.
and then Kelly. And Matthew? Approve. I shall also approve unanimously, passing along our recommendation that we go forward with this mural. So really appreciate all of the legwork that y'all have done. not one, but two presentations about the overall project, and I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too.
Can you expect the center to be open, done?
This fall,
Just, okay.
yeah, we were originally hoping to have it open at the beginning of the school semester, but I think we're gonna be a little bit,
Behind.
yeah.
Mother Nature had other
Mother Nature
ideas.
has other ideas.
Mother Nature always has.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay and watch our further proceedings if you like.
I was gonna ask, what is the next step now? It's gonna go to the city commission on the first?
Yes, I will get it on the first. You hit the right mark because last night was the last city commission meeting of this month. And so the next one, I have a week extra time to get it on their agenda. So I will do that.
Okay. And then you'll let me know if for some reason it doesn't get on that agenda or if that's full or,
Yeah, I'll let you know if anything goes awry. This will be on consent.
okay,
So unless somebody pulls it for some reason, it will just be passed along with the rest of the consent agenda.
okay,
So I'll listen in. You do not have to. You're welcome to if you want to.
okay,
But there shouldn't be a reason, I'm just bringing the information. The art commission is recommending that this be
Okay.
approved.
and if they have questions, they're gonna ask.
They'll ask
you.
me and I will then basically share all that you've submitted and the fact that the art commission voted unanimously in favor of
Okay.
approving this.
So you think we're pretty good chance?
Yeah,
When was the last time a mural proposal recommendation got pulled off the consent agenda for the city commission to?
I don't remember anything before COVID. So I think I mean, it can never guarantee anything, but yeah, I think you've done your due diligence and that's
Okay.
really what this is about. So,
Great.
yeah, bravo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go away all the way together. If you guys ever want any kind of like swag or anything done, LFK Press is owned by Leslie, who is Jewish descent, and that would be a really
Okay.
neat way to
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
I didn't know
I know
that.
Leslie very well for many years. She's great.
Perfect. So I want to make
Perfect.
sure, oh, okay, I want to make sure that connection's there because like, how cool is that to, yeah. Ah, that makes me
She's
so
done, she's done a
excited.
lot of swag
You
for
have
us
no
over the
idea.
years.
Yay, well, I'm excited to watch this become,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Try and swing by.
yep, start,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll let you know when that's all finalized. I don't know that we don't have a specific date yet, but when we do, I'll let you guys
That'd
know.
be great.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. A wonderful building and a wonderful mural.
Love that.
Great. Thank you for your time.
All right, we do have one other thing on our agenda, which is kind of two things, but it is reviewing and considering, I'm trying to say this word correctly, de-accessioning to public artworks. De-accessioning, is that?
That is correct.
De-accessioning. So this.
Oh, wait, do we have any public comment? Sorry, I just want to make sure we cover that base. Thank you, Laurel.
Thank you.
No, I don't see anybody online and I see nobody in the room, so we do not have public comment. We did this.
So as long as I've been on the Cultural Arts Commission, I don't recall ever reviewing public artworks for de-accessioning, but it is looking at works which are deteriorated and considering passing along a recommendation to potentially remove or at least it's either remove and or stop doing upkeep.
So de-accession is the first step in formally saying getting permission from this body to say, okay, it's okay to now take these out of our collection. How quickly we do anything physically with them, I don't know for sure, because there'll be budget issues. But let
Do you
me,
have a list of where they are?
let me show you.
Yeah.
So here's the presentation for this, and I need to share this to Zoom, so it is recorded. Bear with me here.
So one of these I'm very
At the pool?
familiar with because it's in front of the community health facility, which is
Right.
where I've worked for the past
Okay.
4 odd years.
So this one is called Tres Manos. It was installed they're both installed in 1999. And this was done by Steve Richardson in front of the Lawrence Douglas County Public Health Building. If you're not familiar, what it is these benches and then this fountain, and then the sculpture itself is this fountain piece inside the fountain. Fountain piece inside the fountain, the sculpture on top of inside the fountain. And I talked to Steve recently, who understands the circumstances. This is stainless steel, so this actually is holding up pretty well.
Mhm.
But the rest of this is unfortunately, 410 steel is wonderful architecturally because it naturally rusts to a point and then stops.
Mhm.
But if you put it in a fountain where it's continually wet, that backfires. So the good news is it's been there since 1999. It's had a great life. Most public artworks are, 25 years is a great run. The problem now is that it's rusting so severely that we can't run the fountain because it immediately clogs the fountain.
Mhm.
And so it just really has reached that point in its life where it's just not, functioning properly. The good news is we can use the fountain, the benches. They're all in good shape. They were stainless. And we could probably keep this as a fountain. So we can actually leave, as much intact as possible. If we take it down, I told Steve that we would give him right of first refusal. If he wants the metal or anything, we definitely give it to him. So that's one, but I'm kind of going backwards here. And then the other one is it's called the Mosaic Wall. It is also a fountain. This was done by Steve Smith in 1999 at the entry to the Outdoor Aquatic Center. And so this is what they both looked like when they were first, or, fairly new. This is that same image, but when you look at it now, it just has aged like things do.
Uh-huh.
The sun and other things have affected it, stained from the water. And what you're seeing here is a lot of the glaze is chipping off. So it's just not, it's just in bad shape.
Functional.
It's not working as well as it used to, and that's just the nature of fountains, that they take a lot of maintenance and stuff. So it does still work, but because of the deterioration of the structure, it's just not ideal. So we haven't been running it the last couple of years. Just more images.
So what will happen with that location? They'll just pull it out and you'll just have the building exposed again, or?
Well, the challenge is honestly that there's a cost to removal and we don't have budget for that. So that's to be determined. They are going to be doing some, construction work on the Outdoor Aquatic Center. So we may be able to include it.
Painting an option?
You can't paint it because it's glazed. So paint would not adhere to this,
Not like spray paint or airbrush or,
not on a long-term
okay,
basis. It's just not the right substrate for that.
interesting.
Is there a way to leave some of the wall up and take out the
What if you
the
put
water
a
part?
whole new slab of, I don't know, mortar, what is that?
Rim.
Yeah, and then just,
Mosaic over top.
yeah, or colored mortar and just make a thing. Is that,
Probably don't have the budget for that either.
Yeah, it's more.
Well, we don't have the budget for that. And also the integrity of the artist. I've understand that Steve has moved out of town. And so part of this is honoring the artist's work. And there is a contract for Steve Richardson piece. I cannot find a contract for this one. Typically our contract currently say, we will keep this on display for X amount of years. And again, this amount of time is, 26 years is a good run for public art. So part of it is not desiring to try to fix it as much as just saying it had its life and now it's time to move on. And again, I don't know how quickly we'll do anything or, what we can do, but.
Is there the potential for the one in front of the public health building to maintain that base and that become an option for public art again? Or is it just impossible? I mean, if somebody saw that, they might want to design something to go in there. I don't know. But it's such a pretty layout.
mhm.
And
This is actually on the fountain, so this would stay, at least in recognition of the work. But if you look closely, I don't know if you can really see, the deterioration is really.
no, I mean, you get rid of that. I'm just talking about leave the pedestal and then because I assume it's just attached to the pedestal. Right?
Well, the challenge is it's actually the fountain. So the water pumps up through the sculpture into the pool on top and then drips down. So, I mean, yes, we could probably make it a pedestal and just place art there. It wouldn't be a fountain. I guess that's feasible. I hadn't thought of that.
Just, when you have a place that's ready-made for public art.
No, it's a good point.
It's a little-
I actually, I love the idea that maybe this could become a site for our,
Yeah. Whatever we call it.
pay, unmistakable public art exhibition.
It could still be a fountain if you
Right.
had the pedestal and the water just flows off the pedestal and then you have something and the art sits on top of it.
Right.
It's not getting wet.
Yeah, no, we'd love to keep the fountain going because it is a nice, it's a nice
Yeah.
place to sit. It's often in shade out there, so it's
And
nice.
it is, yeah, I mentioned that I worked in this building. I used to work at the health department, now I work at Bernash. Many people every day go past that rusty sculpture and yeah, it's had a good lifespan, but I think moving ahead with letting it, move on and then however long it takes to get somewhere. Yeah, we could put one of the annual Upe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That could be an option, especially if we have talked about wanting to have that kind of be more community wide and
Mhm.
not so downtown.
Well, that's a great, thank you, Dan. I just didn't think of that.
I think that the folks in the building would be pretty amenable to that too.
Yeah, no, it'd be fun. Then you have something, each year it'd be
Yeah.
different, so. So I just wrote this up, sort of explaining the concept of deaccession, but both of these pieces have been around for over 25 years now. And it does happen. Happily, it hasn't been necessary until now, as far as I know. But this is the formal sort of, curatorial process to formally say, okay, we agree to this. And then from there, how quickly we move on this, I can't tell you for sure, but the fountain will be a little easier to remove and less expensive. So I think we can handle that. The metal fountain, yeah. The other one is a little trickier because it's literally built into the side of the building, so.
That's why I wondered, as I was mentioning a little earlier, like if there's, I don't know what the construction is on the outside, and I understand when a piece has had its time, it's very recognizable to me, I guess, and I wonder if there's a way to take the fountain part off, but still have the wall, but maybe the artist, that doesn't do justice for what the artist originally thought too. Maybe if you're letting it all go, I'm just trying to hold on to the
Yeah, I mean-
pieces that are there, cause it's cool. I wanna like mosaic, I don't know.
And I do very frequently, children do get in the fountain and it is something that a lot of people enjoy in more way than one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I hear you say trying to preserve some art of it.
But maybe that's not what the artist's original intent, and it's,
Well, and I haven't been able to contact the artist to get their perspective. I did talk to Steve Richardson, but I haven't talked to.
Like you ordered like shellac it. I don't know how these work.
Fill it with ice, sell beer out of it.
Pay for yourself.
Yeah, it is a notable piece.
Yeah, it really
That-
is.
Kids probably like, oh, when I was little, I used to,
I think if, you've mentioned not having a budget for replacing these two pieces a couple times. I think that if there was currently a budget for this and we were able to say, okay, let's like bring in an artist and figure out something that's gonna work for the next 25 years in these same locations, give someone else an opportunity to have their work featured, that would feel like a much more natural progression. Idea that we're deaccessioning these, we don't currently know what's gonna go in those spots. It's not like an exciting new thing. It's just, having to let go of something old. I feel like that makes it a little bit harder, but I do think that eventually, with both of these locations, that eventually we'll find something will end up happening in these spaces. Maybe we end up and I really think putting in a concrete slab costs money, but maybe this also ends up being a location where we have.
Say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with the deaccession process, assuming that you all approve that, that gives us the option to go in and take a better look at it and see, what other options might exist. Could something else occupy this place in a fun way as well?
I know that, I've been looking at the Trace Manos piece for literally years. There's a little smiley face scribbled on the side of this, I see it every day. And obviously, the rust on there is pretty serious. So I've been thinking about the fact that eventually it's gonna go. I know, and you told me before that the artist was aware that it was gonna happen.
This has been going on for years now,
Yeah.
and that's finally what somebody reminded me. I said, yeah, I went out and took a look, and it's like, we just have to face reality.
So for me, I'm very much in the mindset of, even when you put in a giant sculpture of metal, it might seem like it's gonna be there forever, but nothing truly lasts forever. 25 years is a good run. I feel like people often, I think, even recently we were talking about doing some of the street murals. and, trying to increase the longevity of the street murals. And the reality is that nothing lasts forever, and trying to make something truly permanent is kind of ultimately a waste of time. You should just do something cool and enjoy it for a little long lasts, and accept the fact that, eventually you might have to de-accession it.
That in itself is art.
Yeah. So I definitely think, I'm curious to hear what potential there is for these spaces, but it sounds like what you're saying is us giving our blessing to begin the deaccessioning process. It opens up more opportunity to explore what potentially.
One door closes, another opens, right?
And is the goal to have it be like on the metal sculpture, if it got replaced, to have it be a Lawrence artist? Is that what we want to try and stay with? Or,
Well, if we use it for the unmistakable public art exhibition, I'm not used to saying that yet.
yeah.
Since that's a temporary program, more often than not, it's Lawrence artists. So it would be Lawrence artists, but I mean, we wouldn't necessarily limit it to that because it would change out annually.
The reason I ask is because I have a friend in Colorado. Have you ever heard of Lori Alcott? Okay. Who does some of the most beautiful, hopeful sculptures that and they're all over Colorado. She's got them everywhere, and I'd be happy to send you, but they're just beautiful. And I keep going, Lori, I want to get you, because they just evoke so much emotion, and they're beautiful. And it seems like it would fit perfectly in front of the public health building, because they all are just, the story is just about being kind and hopeful and empathetic, and all of her work is beautiful.
We definitely have in the unmistakable public art exhibition. We've had, I'm trying to think of how far flung we've had artists.
Oh, Miami.
Yeah.
So she should apply.
Okay,
Yeah, she can absolutely do that. The stipend is $1,750.
okay,
So she'd have to determine if
Yeah.
it's, worth her time
Right.
and energy. But we had the Orange Slices, was an artist out of Miami that he brought like 4 or 5 pieces and was distributing them across the country at these temporary programs. So he was very, very enthusiastic. So yeah, we usually, we've had people we have people from Iowa and, definitely regional. but
Definitely.
Some across the country.
Pacific Northwest, I don't know why I was thinking we did.
I think we have. And then there was a gentleman who retired and he did the big fish that was in front of the Phoenix Gallery. And he and his wife did that for a few years. I haven't heard from them recently, but so yeah, no, absolutely. She should definitely
okay.
keep her ear on that. And I got to start thinking about getting that opportunity open for next year, as a matter of fact.
It's like,
Cup.
that's a blurry picture, but this is the kind of thing she did. So
We should get her.
they're beautiful.
Get her to submit. Whatever, if you need our help.
This privacy thing, so I have to make sure you really,
If you need our help cajoling her, let us know.
yeah.
So does anybody have, kind of mentioned, this is the first time I've ever been involved in a deaccessioning. Have you ever, as long as you've been?
Not here, no.
So, kind of a new thing, but definitely for the Trace Manos sculpture, I've been aware of it for a while, but, does anybody have any ardent objections?
I don't have any objections. I'm always interrupting and before you finish, but no, it's not an objection. It's just a question. You know how sometimes you go to historic sites and you have images of what used to be in that space? Is that something that Lawrencians would appreciate with that piece by the pool? And especially, the piece by the public health, because I understand the connection to physical things that, things happen in those spots, conversations are had, it's Lawrence, I feel like is in a place where we all have those attachments around town. So that changes the energy, the space. So would something like a little memorial plaque or a historical marker of the art that used to be, we invest in it, we invest in these people, and then they just disappear and we forget about them. What if there was some kind of historical record of something like that around town, that could also be a thing that people come to see and do.
Probably put something like that inside the building, so it's protected, but yeah, I can look into that. That's a noble idea, you know, just so it doesn't.
Well, if it got removed and you repurpose, that you save some and you make something
Kind of
that.
like a shadow box type.
Thing, yeah, and so you still have a part of it there, some,
Yeah, one little piece.
Well, like I said,
Get too eclectic.
you know, for the piece of here at the health department, the plaque, where's the plaque? This
Yeah.
plaque exists
Yep.
on the side of this, so this would remain. And then we could have, you know, maybe something on site, or like I said, put it inside so it's protected, but has some information.
Well, you know how you go to the like lookout points, like with the brown historical markers, and they have the pictures of like the bugs or the birds you might see. They weather pretty well.
Yeah, they have some stuff that's
Yeah.
pretty good about that. Yeah, let me look into that. It's a good thought too.
Be really cool.
or even on that thing, if you kind of look down the line and you left the plaque. And then there's a new plaque for the new art, and so instead of things staying for 25 years, maybe it's something that gets transitioned a little more often. And then you have the plaque for the things that have been there, which would be kind of cool to memorialize them and.
Lawrence loves its art. It would be a cool way to honor those pieces.
I like the idea, yeah. The challenge I have is they're old enough that they predate digital photography. And I don't have a lot of, I don't have good imagery. That's one of the challenges, but I could probably work with what I have.
You're getting us a sketch, or rendering.
You know, this one is a okay photos, but
You know
this-
what?
or-
You could ask LFK on Facebook, like anybody who has pictures of this growing
That's
up
a good idea.
through time, and then pick a picture that works well.
That's a good idea.
Get the community involved, man. They love
These two photos, these archival.
Yeah. Yep. Have people submit pictures
To me, because the town was so much, at the Clark Center was so much more vibrant.
in the little shrubbery.
Picture on the right looks like a CGI or a computer rendering.
Mhm.
It's so much newer and neater.
So we do need a vote.
Yeah, so of course, if the other people have, you know, more comments or questions, feel free, but if not, if somebody wants to make a motion for our recommendation that the city begin the process of deaccessioning Trace Manos and the mosaic wall at the outdoor park center.
Make a motion.
All right, thank you, Monique.
I second it.
Thank you, Kelly, for seconding. I will now do a roll call vote, starting with Tim. Approved. And Alicia.
Approved.
And then Monique.
Approved.
And Kelly.
Approved.
And Matthew. Approved. Aisha also approved. So we will begin the process, seeing what happens with these. As we mentioned, it could be a while.
Yeah, this is the first step, so nothing drastic is gonna occur, but thank you.
Probably be less than 25 years.
Fingers crossed.
So we do have something in the miscellany, just talking about the fact that the Phoenix Award nominations are open. Maybe you saw that, maybe you shared it on social media or sent a text to a friend of yours who you feel like could nominate somebody or one of those things. But
And you all can nominate. And little trick that I will share with you. Go here and go to. That's a cool.
yeah,
Take that.
it's very.
You already got it in there.
So if you go to, I have to share this, hang on just a sec.
Good job remembering every time. I would forget.
Okay, so if you go to our website, go to the Phoenix Awards. And you can scroll down. And you can see down here just past Tony's work from last year, here are all the previous winners. If you open this and then you hit Control F, a finding window appears. And if I look for
Mary Dupton.
Alicia, Yeah, if I spell it right. It will show that Alicia Kelly made the award in 2013. But there's only one of her, so just for instance, Alicia has not actually won this award. So this is a quick way to search. If somebody pops into your head of like, what about this person? I'm actually quickly going through and generating a list by going through old records. And I will eventually share that with you all just so you know it exists. The other thing is that because of the internet, because one of the challenges as a nominator was you used to have to go and ask for a resume and stuff, and you were trying to do it sort of secretly, clandestine approach. Now you can at least find information, and actually the Art Center, because I was looking for a couple of people that have taught at the Art Center. The Art Center has a fantastic archive page of everybody that's taught at the Art Center. Has small bios, it's not a ton of info, but it's another step in the right direction of gleaning information about who actually hasn't been recognized that probably should be. So I just give you that, that for as an option to look at and try to determine if you do think of somebody, definitely check first, have they already won this award? And then I go back to all the artists. I think like Kyla did it one year. Jeremy has done it. And so, going back and looking like Walt Hull has not, he hasn't been recognized, but he's been doing great stuff in town. So anyway, food for thought, just wanted to share that because it's a good tool. And honestly, it's partially because it's so hard to try to extract all this information and put it in one list. It's almost easier to search it here. So I share that with you guys for that purpose. But yeah, please get the word out. And Monique, want to share what you shared with me about our lead center opportunity?
Yeah. They did book and secure the lead center. If that is something we want to move on, we have the option.
To have the ceremony also be a component of the.
Yep, so it's the weekend of the 13th and 14th of December. I believe the 14th is the Sunday, obviously. And yeah.
I think that sounds great.
You participate. I mean, the ceremony itself is about, I guess, from start to finish, 90 minutes-ish.
The Phoenix Awards.
The Phoenix Awards ceremony. I mean, I don't want to interrupt the other event.
No, it's a come and go, hang out, social hour. So I think it would be cool to have it, kind of maybe during the tail end of it, while there's still
Yeah.
a bit of folks there and attending.
Perfect.
I think it would be neat.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
This isn't on the agenda, but I did also want to bring up with the Unmistakable Public Art Exhibition, the potential for a sculpture walk for that. Do we have a?
No, I haven't set a date for that yet. Just really busy right now here, but I was thinking about that today. I need to just decide when. I'm trying to remember, when does the weather sort of get back out of
October.
Usually end of September, early October.
Usually November. But I guess I just wanted to bring that back up because we usually would have done it by now, but it's getting pushed back, so.
Maybe final Friday in September?
Maybe you could just do like a preview night during the midsummers. Well, I know that's coming up quickly, but there'll be already a ton of people and, people have seen it and maybe they don't have context, so it'd be cool
The
to.
midsummer.
Midsummer. Yeah, is that this weekend or is that? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was like?
I think it's this weekend. But no, good thought. And I'm sure there's other opportunities where.
Like just do like a preview, but yeah, I've been looking at them. They're really neat. I always like to find them.
And I'm just basically everything right now. The mark is what was do you have what date for that is? That might be.
That's later. That's October.
October.
But I mean, it doesn't mean we can't do more than one thing. So let me look at all that.
So this isn't on the agenda either, but as always, does anybody want to share arts and cultural things that they have coming up that they want to plug or things they've gone to recently that they would like to share about? Is there et cetera section? So I don't know if anybody has, I guess, there might be some sort of free state festival thing in the works.
Oh, there's that.
Next week.
So,
I'm very excited for the Swamp Dog documentary, Swamp Dog Blues and Soul. And he's gonna be here and perform as well after the documentary. He's awesome.
sounds great. I
See him,
usually
like,
attend at least
they're-
a few things from Free State, but I haven't actually gone through and figured out what I'm doing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me, I need to look.
We have our next art show transition taking place next week. The opening will be July 11th, and the new artist, it's kind of interesting, it's a little bit out of our normal realm of things. A guy by the name of Nathan Novak out of Heston. And it is he, his stepmother, and his brother. They're all painters. And so they're bringing like the whole family art show to the back.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, his stuff is really cool. It was referred to us by another gallery. But that will be July 11th for the actual opening from 5 to 7. The Art Guild show will come down next week. So
And I want to get there. Sometimes I just find myself over there if I have to go to Sports Pavilion in Lawrence or something. I can just walk in the bank as long as the bank's
all the
open.
time.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
like every day.
Okay.
All right, great. Well, hearing no further comments, it is 8:13. We can go ahead and move to adjournment. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Thank you, Tim. And thank you, Monique, for the second. We will do a roll call to adjourn, starting with Tim, and Alicia, and
Approved.
Monique, and Kelly, Matthew. Approve. I shall also approve adjourning this regular meeting of the Board of Special Ed Commission. Thank you to Porter. Thank you to Kurt, even though you're not here.
I'll upload this to YouTube, so
Oh, yeah, he's
Still working.
thanks, everybody.